I have something to share. Okay,
but before that, Malu, thank you very much for being part of course, the conference, and you've come in other events, and it's been really wonderful listening to your viewpoint. But I can't let you go ahead without me telling us what we are doing. This is what we are doing. Malu is going to talk about mediation as an important tool of environmental, social, and governance policies. That's what she's talking about. But Malu, you'll have to tell us about the conference. I tell everyone to do that for me to understand what do you understand about the conference. So please, about the conference first.
So first of all, I would like to thank you very much for the invitation. For me, this is a great pleasure being part of this circle, being part of this conference, and your work is very important and very nice work of what you're doing. And what about about what I'm going to talk about the mediation as an important tool of environment, social, and governance, is that the global goals of the United Nations, and here in Portuguese we say ESG programs, and this is what we have to accomplish, the companies together with the judiciary, in order to avoid everything that could be solved, mediated in companies, and that everything goes to the issues goes to the judiciary, especially where I work. I work in the small claim court, with what we call JEC, Special Small Claim Court, Juizado Especial, and it was created for those people that they are not they were supposed to have access to justice, and it's also free justice, and it's also for less complex issues. You also don't need lawyers in the JEC, and it's now having it's distortion, because the way it is now, it is a hotline of the companies. Everything that they don't solve in the companies goes to JEC. And it's a kind of hotline of every issues of the banks, of the cell phones, everything that they could solve there, if they properly train better their employees, or they have the properly implement this ESG policy, it wouldn't go to the judiciary for us to solve things that could be easily solved inside by themselves, banks, and so on. Okay, so I'll first talk about what is the ESG.
No, first you want to talk about yourself. First about yourself.
Oh, first about myself. Okay, about myself. I'm a lawyer, but I have spent the great part of my life teaching commercial law classes. more than 20 years teaching commercial law classes and intellectual property classes. What else? Oh, what is the name in English? Compliance lessons. Well, it was very nice. I simply loved being in contact with students. I have masters, I have PhD, and so books, everything. Well, now I am a conciliator and mediator. I work in the JEC I was telling about, né? I think that we can we can change the world. Well, this is it's a music. We can change the world. Well, anyway, so we're talking the last time I was here, we're talking about the war in Ukraine. It was very nice show, was very nice topic, and now we're talking about this importance of mediation. I was reading about this that in the United Nations is going to be a conference now in September where all the countries, they were going to bring together their homeworks, what they have done during a certain period about the topics, the goals, and nobody was talking. There is nobody talking about number 16, exactly what we are talking today: the peace, justice, and stronger institutions. And I think this is a very important topic to be talked about.
But before that, Malu, let me also say that the most important thing that you just said about wanting to change the world, I just want to put up one quote. I don't know whether you read this quote. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Okay, so
Steve Jobs.
So thinking about changing the world is the starting point. Okay, so
right. Okay. And I was also reading that every month United Nations has the goal of the month, and now June, the goal of the month is number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. And together with goal 14, which is life below water, and goal 15, which is life on land. Basically, what they are talking here, they are talking about reduction of plastic and goal 15 means combat of desertification, reverse and degradation of the lands. I think Brazil should be in this topic about the Amazon forest, but Brazil is, Brazil is out of question. There's lots of things to do. Well, I have something to share. I need to ask for your permission and the PowerPoint to share.
Please.
So
Yes, Malu, you're sharing. We're waiting for you to share.
Or where can I? How? Please tell me.
Just at the bottom of the screen, you say share screen. First of all, just on your computer, just open whatever you want to open. Just keep that screen there. So you opened your document. So it's lying there. Okay. Now just go to share screen at the bottom of the bottom, that green thing there, right at the bottom of Zoom. Bottom of Zoom.
Yes, share
Yeah.
screen. Okay.
Just click that
Right.
and click your document, whatever screen that is, and just say share at the bottom, and that's it.
Right. 1 second.
If there's any issue, you want to, what I'll do is just let me share this. If you share the screen, just share the screen. I'll then maybe.
No, 1 second. That it is in my files, my personal files.
Okay. So you're looking for it. Take your time. There's no issue. Up till then, what I'll do is let me just. Whenever you're ready to share, just tell me. I'm just putting up just a little bit about the conference that we started on 18th May. We are going up to 30th June. 18th May, we celebrate as World Mediators Day because Ken Cloke's birthday, and he's, for me, the face of the resolution revolution. And of course, all recordings are available on my YouTube channel. You can either get the link from mediatorvikram.com or just go to YouTube and search Mediator Vikram. You'll find that there. So information is all out there, Malu. I hope you have been watching some sessions.
Well, here is the PowerPoint. How can I share this with you? My
Okay, now
goodness.
just nothing, no issue. Just you open your PowerPoint. Just open it there on your computer. Is open? Is it open? Is the PowerPoint open? Oh, perfect. Now you go to share screen. Just click share screen at the bottom of the screen here. It's on Zoom. Just come to Zoom again. Just come to Zoom.
Yeah.
Now click the share screen. Now look at the window there. On the window, wherever you see that PowerPoint, just click on that. Do you see PowerPoint on that? When you open
share PowerPoint, yes.
Yes, just click on that. And then at the bottom, there'll be share screen, share at the bottom of that window. Share at the bottom. Just click share.
Right. Okay.
Done. Done. We are waiting for you to click it. Have you clicked it? Otherwise, you can always, if you want to send it to me, I can open it here.
Oh, right. I think I send it to you because this is asking me to a lot of questions here. That's my
Personal information is asking for.
my my password.
Okay. Yes. You
know.
Yeah, no. Just send it to me while you're going through your whatever you want to tell us.
Yes, I send it to you. Where I send it to you?
You can send it on. You want to send it on email? You can send it on email.
Right.
You want to send it here? Yeah.
Give me your email.
Yeah, I just put it on the chat. I just put it here in the chat. Not difficult. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Right, I can see here. Okay, in 2 seconds, I am sending it to you.
No problem at all.
Thank you. You know, it happens when we are having hearings. It happens every day. The people don't know how to deal with the teams.
No, that's the thing. I think this is all you learn by trying it out. So once in a while, you have to just
Yes, but
make that.
the important thing is that we are here, and we.
Yeah, while that comes, if you can continue telling us about ESG and how you will look at the way it should go in Brazil and otherwise in the world. But Balu, I keep saying Brazil. How should I pronounce it? Brazil.
Brasil.
Brazil. Okay.
Brasil.
Brazil.
Brasil.
That's a new one.
Yes.
That's a new
Brasil.
one.
We say Brasil.
Okay. That's going to be, if I'm going to say it, everyone's going to laugh at me and they say, what are you saying? You can't even say, okay, but I'm going to use that now. Brazil.
Brasil. Okay.
Send.
There we go.
It'll take its time. It has to come from far away.
Yes.
But it's come. I've got it. I'm just opening it.
Okay. Nice.
So basically, the presentations. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes these presentations, I'm quite happy without them also. Because you get to, I mean, what happens sometimes? Yeah, what happens sometimes behind this, it's like the presentation opens up and the person gets hidden. We want the person to be out there.
Presentations.
Okay, anyway, let's start the presentation.
Yes. So mediation is an important tool of environmental, social, and governance, ESG policies. This is a global goal for 2030. Well, so this is good governance values. We are talking about companies play a fundamental role in sustainable and inclusive development. To direct resource to sustainable projects and research, seeking recognition as leaders in sustainable practices. Social environment problems of local communities become challenges for investors as a reference to human rights, international standards of responsible business conduct. These are practices for including these ESG elements defined by the UN Global Goal 2030. It's not such an unprecedented path, but it needs to be built. As the proper UN says, it's not a kind of promise. I was reading about what Mr. Guterres said. It's just a promise. This is, and it doesn't matter if the countries are rich or are poor or are in development, but this is something this is an invitation for the whole globe to be in construction, to be engaged. And the construction of this path involves a plural engagement of society's players and the private sector has a very significant participation. Long-term, the next one is
Wants to run off.
Long-term mindset. Well, this is like I was saying before, this is a long-term mindset. The next one.
It wants to keep running off there for some
This
reason.
long-term mindset, values such respect, sustainability, inclusion, and justice, values beyond economics. Companies and investors are increasingly working together to tackle key global challenges. The adoption of environmental, social, and governance in private investments is evolving from a risk management practice to an engine of innovation and new opportunities that create long-term value for business and society. The thought that sees environmental protection as an obstacle to business and social development is completely wrong. Quite the contrary today, with the adoption of clauses of environmental responsibility, being in compliance with the legislation on the subject is essential to generate market confidence, attract investment, and or exports, among many other benefits. In another opportunity, I heard someone saying it's here in Brazil. What happens if there is a fiscalization? This is the word, and if they find pollution in the river, or the industry is polluting the air, they close the industry, they close the business. I wish I could answer that person that no, the right thing to do is to buy new things to work, because here in Brazil there are a lot of old industries, more than 25-year-old industries, and this is what happens when they pollute. They pollute a lot, and what happens when they get caught in a fiscalization? In order not to close it, normally they go to bribe the there is another wrong thing that's not completely against the ESG proposals. ESG is totally the opposite. Né? I was well, exactly. This is a virtual circle created by the compliance. Stage number 1, more quality, and so a more better added value, better prices, better support, and so better policies, better governance, better rules, better laws, standards, risk, requirements, regulations, and everything conforms, which is the compliancy, and entrepreneurs or companies adhere to compliancy. That's the main purpose of the ESG, which is the resume of the United Nations propositions, 17 propositions.
That's it. Can we move on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Why does it have to go there? Yep.
Practical ideas to implement ESG in your company. Environmental, manage the proper disposal of waste, reduce waste in the day-to-day of the office, example, use of disposables. One example, this is very simple. You know, this we can replace that. I know, but here in Brazil, there is a lot of the cup of coffee, the plastic ones. So replace for or water this, but please, in the end of the day, you wash. You don't, so please come back here. Use renewable energies. Here in Brazil, we have the plenty of new energies. We have hydraulic, we have wind, we have solar, but on the other hand, we have a very, very bad public management. And so now we're starting to touch a little bit of what I will say about the mediation. It's a point of touch here. Create social projects with the local community is another one. Encourage the professional growth of employees through training and courses is another one. Inclusion and diversity policies in all positions. Governance, transparency, conformity, accounting and tax practices, risks and controls, audits, respect local communities, the environment, and adopt good corporate governance practices. Okay. Now, two different things, the international compliance and industrial compliance. The international compliance is, like Mr. Guterres says, that aims more the planet and the most vulnerable people, as about clean energy, the renewables, and what causes pollution by emitting substances. We're talking about clean energy, solar, wind, geothermal, and hydraulic. And inclusion of vulnerable people, for example, electricity and internet for all. Here is a very interesting issue here in Brazil. It has to do with the mediation too, because we have 3 or 4 or 5 countries in the same country. We cannot say that São Paulo is the example for everything, because São Paulo is as big as New York, but we can have mediation, and we must have mediation as a national policy. But for instance, in North or Northeast, I have comarcas, how to say, I have cities, I have that there is only one judge, and only this judge, that he makes all the hearings, he makes the coffee, he serves the coffee, he makes the agenda, he does everything by himself. And there is also no electricity and internet for everybody. And so how can we talk about a national politic of mediation, which is a very advanced subject, and we have to bring everybody together with us. Well, and one step ahead, but don't need to
Go back? You want to go back?
so in industrial, in the compliance in industrial, what I was saying, we are talking about the industry, and we have equipment over 25 years old, and which brings briberies, and this is against the ESG policies. So now another, okay. So Sustainable Development 2030 global goal is the United Nations agenda as a global plan to achieve a better world by 2030, which is not far, so 7 years from now, for all people and nations. In United Nations General Assembly, held in New York in September 2015, with the participation of 193 member states, established 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The commitment made by countries to the agenda involves the adoption of bold, comprehensive, and essential measures to promote the rule of law, human rights, and accountability of political institutions. One of the main focus of the 2030 agenda is the most vulnerable, which obliquely goes to sustainability. So this is a call to action for all countries to promote prosperity and protect the planet. Goal 16, this is our topic, is about promoting peaceful and inclusive societies, providing accountable justice for all and building effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions for all levels. People everywhere should be free of fear from all forms of violence and feel safe as they go about their lives, whatever their ethnicity, faith, or sex orientation. High levels of armed violence and insecurity have a destructive impact on countries' development. Sexual violence, crime, exploitation, and torture, and prevalent where there is conflict or no rule of law. Governments, civil societies, and communities need to work together to find lasting solutions to conflict and fight insecurity. Strengthening the rule of law and promoting human rights is key to this process, as is reducing the flow of illicit arms, combating corruption, and ensuring inclusive participation at all times. Well, this is all the targets of goal 16, but I will just say about the more important for us, to our topic, and and just say what happens here in Brazil. Here in Brazil, for instance, we don't have For instance, legal identity for all, including birth registration. As I said, São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro or Brasilia, this is one situation. But if I go to Acre, it's another situation. Or if I go to another state there up in the Nordeste, it's another situation. Not everybody has birth registration. So, like I said, substantially reduce corruption and bribery in all their forms, making the institutions more stronger, promote the rule of law and the national and international levels to ensure equal access to justice for all. Equal access to justice is what Juizado Especial was created for, where I work. And what else is important here? I think that's strengthen, number 16, strengthen relevant national institutions, including through international cooperation, building capacity on all levels, in particular in development countries, to prevent violence and combat terrorism and crime. Well, that's, I think it's a very interesting topic. So we can now, we are going to our mediation. Well, I was saying that here and now in June, it says they are celebrating. United Nations is celebrating the goal number 12. Responsible consumption and production. Number 14, life below water. And 15, life on land. And I think that should put more focus on number 16. When they meet in September, I didn't see, at least until now, I didn't see any country talking about topic number 16. Hey, Vikram, this could be an opportunity, a good opportunity to talk about goal number 16. Well,
but let me tell you, Malu, 2 people in the conference have spoken about it. 2 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
You want to go back?
No, I'm going to talk about the mediation. Now, Brazil. Brazil is a country with one of the highest litigation rates in the world. The proportion of the number of ongoing proceedings in the different spheres of the judiciary, more than 75 million, according to data from the latest CNJ's National Judiciary Council report called Justice in Numbers, far exceeds the average of other countries. So Brazilians know to go to judiciary. They don't know how to solve their own problems. They know to sue people. That's what Brazilian people know. There are several explanations for this phenomenon. One of them is the fact that justice is free for the small claim court, JECs, also where I work, the special courts, juizado especial. But I was saying that juizado especial was created with a social purpose to include those, to give access to those people that can't afford expensive lawyers. Jackie, it doesn't even need a lawyer. Jackie is for a less complex cases. So it turns out that access to justice cannot be denied those who are less favored and who cannot even have access to electronic devices or electricity. There are regions where there is only one judge. Brazil is a country of continental dimensions, and comparisons between north, south, southeast cannot be made. The JEC was designed precisely to include and give access to this public and to less complex issues, would even require the presence of a lawyer. But incredible distortions have been occurring, and issues of various natures end up flowing into JEC. The JEC became the hotline for banks, utility companies, cell phone companies, airlines, and various types of fraud which could be avoided if companies invested more in their internal training. It's not plausible that the judiciary becomes the ombudsman of companies, burdening the entire structure and the cost of process that could be avoided if companies started to implement the ESG culture. The practice of mediation is implemented and enshrined in countries like the United States in 95% of cases, and all of them are resolved extrajudicially. Our legislation dates from 2015, and although we have excellent where
Oh, okay. I had to go off that too.
hello, Francisco. And
Francesco had
although
come in, so I had gone there to get him in.
and although
Oh, where to go? Where to go? That was yeah.
Aki.
And although we have excellent mediators, both judicial and extrajudicial, greater efforts are needed to reduce litigation.
Yes. Okay, I found myself. And although we have excellent mediators, both judicial and extrajudicial, great efforts are needed to reduce litigation, which burdened the judiciary in 2019 at a cost of 100 billion reais. To conclude, and for us to be able to successfully implement I wrote Directive 16, a greater joint commitment is needed, both from the business community when assuming the ESG culture in resolving their internal conflicts, leaving to judiciary what belongs to judiciary, what is the thesis, not everything, the thesis. and to Jackie what belongs to Jackie. And commitment to public order, without which nothing can be 100% successful.
Yeah, that's it.
And ESG, a win-win framework. Some experts believe that compliance with the SDS by all countries. SDS means
Sustainable development goals.
yes, the goals of the United Nations by all countries would unlock an estimated 12 trillion across 4 economic systems: food and agriculture, cities, energy and materials, and health and well-being as a result of new opportunities and gains. Therefore, the Agenda 2030 creates opportunities for both investors and companies. Furthermore, it provides a framework and common language for corporations to integrate sustainability information into their reports, providing information to both investors and shareholders. There are several actors in the ESG investment chain, such as investors, banks, and companies that are gradually including sustainable governance in their reporting processes. Therefore, compliance is a fundamental area for thinking about actions that make your company in accordance with the agenda and make sustainability an asset of your business, in addition to ensuring a broader contribution to the preservation of life on Earth.
So nice.
I think that it is. So now I put the references and the environmental, the governance, the social, and that's as I said, that's a win-win framework.
Okay, you said this is an opportunity. When I spoke about the World Mediation Circle and I said, let's make mediation circles, one of it is making mediation circles in every organization. So every organization creates that culture of mediation within itself, and of course, with all the external stakeholders that it has. So they first, I think for me, it was that, okay, we talk about getting in mediators from outside, but what about all your internal resources? There are people with the mediator mindset within the organization also. So let's get that out. That's in, if we need skill development of that, we'll of course we'll have lots of skill development. That whole program is coming up. Lots of sessions of that will be available. So first, this is an opportunity for mediators to create that circle. So they're available as organizational mediators, which is what I call them, organizational mediators. One session we had in the conference on organizational mediator versus organizational ombuds, because I really want to put it across, because ombuds is a concept that's been used for quite some time and organizations have tried to create it, but it has so many different things that it has to look at that the focus on mediation is not there. So let's have an organizational mediator for every organization, and that organizational mediator could be should be and can be an external person who creates that capacity within the organization. So those people with the mediator mindset who are in the organization are then used in every aspect of work, where I keep saying, if a project is there, let an internal person who has that mindset be involved whenever some issue comes up to talk to the other side. You don't have to get an external mediator all the time if they can resolve it within themselves. But if the right people with the right mindset sit together, they can resolve things and at the right time. So that is what how I look at development of the mediation within organizations, because externally you don't have that many people who have that mediator mindset. You are training people and making mediators, that's happening, but that's not working out because it doesn't, there's some definitely user experience is not good or something that is not taking off. And throughout the conference I've been talking about how Today, artificial intelligence is available. If you have to program artificial intelligence, use it. And in 2-3 sessions, we've done a live kind of session on ChatGPT. So if that resource is available to people, at least let them start with that. Whenever something comes up, go to ChatGPT, put it out there, see what you have to talk about. So at least you have someone to have a conversation with. Then you have your internal resources. Then you have your external organizational mediator available to you. So create it in such a manner that everyone has access to certain basics, very basics, which we think is basic, but for a lot of people, that direction is not available. So they have a direction available, and then from there they build it up to whatever they have to do. So that's my thought on how we can develop this and look at that goal and what we should do.
But I think you are absolutely right. But what I think what is happening here in Brazil is absolutely absurd. And there is now there is a coordinator and the judiciary that she is very concerned about what's happening with the JEC, the small claim court. She said it's being impossible to, because it's not it wasn't created for that purpose. And so we need to do something about this. So we mediate every day issues for banks, for credit cards, for insurance companies, for electricity, we say the utilities, and so it's not the purpose.
Well, I think the thing is actually where the problem starts. It starts from the free part of it, that we want to give free access to courts to people. So ultimately what really happens is that the taxpayer is funding people's disputes. Now, whether that should happen and why should that happen? Point is, if you're not penalized for getting into disputes, then you will continue to get into disputes. So I think that whole system of access to justice gets extended to a point of time when you are actually funding things which you should not be funding. There could be other things maybe where you need to fund it on certain kinds of issues. I'm not going to get into that, but it will be an whole area of discussion. But I just feel that we are actually funding people's disputes, even through mediation in courts. That also, you're funding people's disputes by giving it for free. So I think that free part of anything that you do will not go in the right direction. Like you said about the Jackie, whatever, what's happening there, wherever that free comes in. So we have to, I think somewhere we have to say, look, you get into a dispute, you have to be penalized for it. Why are you doing this? If you can't afford a lawyer, that's another legal aid thing which can always be discussed. But that entire process being free for these large companies isn't fair to the taxpayer, really. So, but this is always a discussion which will go on. We can say, of course, say hi. Malu, you can say hi to Alec and Francisco. They have their session next. And
hello. What are they talking about? For
Alec will tell you. He's chosen the topic. Alec,
sure. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We are going to be talking about labor disruptions and the way that workplace disputes affect not just organizations, but the communities that they're ultimately a part of.
So yeah, it's a very important topic.
Oh, it's very interesting. And Francisco?
They're together.
Hello, good afternoon. I speak about, about the labor disruptions and the mediation and the restorative justice. I think it's interesting this perspective.
You're on that one.
That was so very nice.
Oh, Francisco, you're on that one. I thought you were you said you're in this discussion. Okay, Francesco, you told me this discussion you're part of. We put it up that way, but doesn't matter. We'll get into that session. We'll see how it goes. So, Malu, any concluding remarks? Anything that you want to tell us before you leave? You don't have to leave in the sense you can stay here, but
that's okay. So I would like to thank you very much once again. And so your shows and a very, very important work that you're doing. And this is such a great pleasure for me to participate. And see you next time.
Next time, yes, we're seeing you on the closing session for sure. Closing session, you're coming. If before that also the few sessions left, you want to drop in, you are always welcome to drop in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Malu. Always a pleasure seeing you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And so